Please don't judge my public speaking. Thank you, Courtney, for introducing me. And thank you for inviting me here. And thank you guys for creating those beautiful courts. When we were driving here, and I was just like, I'm sure those courts are beautiful. But then we actually saw them, and you guys did a great job. So you should be very proud of your courts and for your community, because not many cities are having as many beautiful courts as you guys do. Oh, they're not my notes. That's great. Like, am I supposed to read it?
Go ahead.
No. So, thank you for having those courts, and thank you for inviting me, Courtney, because it's really like, what else I will be doing on Sunday? Nothing else, right? I have a weekend off, getting ready for my next tournament in Atlanta next weekend, so I'm very happy to be here and open up those courts for you guys. Now I can breathe. Do you guys have any questions? Or we can keep those questions for later. I know it's too much pressure here.
When is your next tournament?
So I'm playing in Atlanta next weekend. It's a PPA major tournament, so it's a big one.
Where?
In Atlanta. So, leaving there on Thursday. We'll play Friday, Saturday, and hopefully championship Sunday. So I'm sure it will be streamed on Facebook or YouTube. So you guys can watch if you want to. Hopefully you will. Yes, Courtney?
Oh, Richard.
I have a question. For us people still trying to learn how to play to somewhere near the level that you play at, what would be the one tip would you give for a burgeoning, a new pickleball player to help them be successful?
I think especially when you're trying to get better and trying to improve, I think you should just stick to the basics, right? You're just trying to improve your game instead of trying to do something that you're not skilled, or just try to get consistent, try to stick to the basics and improve by repetition, drilling, and trying to compete and hopefully get better and better results.
How long have you been playing, and how did you get started in the sport?
So, how I got started, that's a funny story. I graduated playing tennis at Wichita State in 2015, and that summer I started playing some made up sports like paddle tennis with Matt and Jack Oxler, actually. And then later in the fall of 2015, we got a temporary pickleball courts at our club, at Wichita Country Club. So the guys were like, okay, let's look into the sport, pickleball, let's see what it is. And they Googled it, they researched it, YouTube. We never seen anybody playing, so we just learned by YouTube. And so I was the fourth person because they're always missing a guy. And you were like, hey, you're fine, you can hang out with us. And I was like, okay, thank you, I'm so lucky. So I was usually the fourth, and then we started playing pickleball, and guys had an idea to play the first US Open in 2016. So I was just like, okay, let's go and play, why not? And then I've never even seen a female player before in my life. We showed up at Naples, and there were like a ton of people, ton of courts. I was like, wow, this is a real tournament, real sport. So we had pretty good results the first tournament, and we were just like, okay, let's continue more, keep competing, and we start playing more and more tournaments.
How did you come to play tennis at Wichita State?
So I was born and raised in Slovakia, and I played tennis my whole life. And one of my Slovakian friends, she was a freshman at Wichita State, and then she knew I wanted to come to US and study and play tennis. So she reached out to me. She was a year older than me, and so she asked me if I would like to come to Wichita State. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? I wanted to come, and I didn't have any clue what where Wichita is or how anything looks like, so I just decided to come to US, and it was the first time here in the US, and I'm still there.
What's your secret, playing so well with your significant other?
So maybe it helps when you win. That always helps. But I think bottom line is what's happening on the pickleball court should stay on the pickleball court. I'm sure sometimes I need to get better at that because I like to be more upset for days or 2 or 3 right afterwards. But I think it's just we need to especially me and everybody else, we need to be able to recognize like, okay, we are competitive, we are on the court and we want to win, and we are a team. And if we win, great. And if we don't, still like it doesn't change our lives, or it doesn't change what's happening off the court. I still need to work on that. You can ask Matt; he would be the one to tell you about it. But yeah, there is room for improvement for sure. Yeah.
How do they rank players worldwide?
So I'm playing PPA tournaments. So I'm on the PPA tour, and we have our own rankings based on our points. So we play. I think this year we have 18 tournaments a year, and I think they're gonna take top maybe 13, 14, 15 results, and they're doing the rankings based on those points. And it's 1 year rolling calendar. So that's my standings are based on that.
How often do the rankings come out?
They go from tournament to tournament.
Oh, after every tournament.
Mhm.
Courtney mentioned that you're so much better than your playing partners in Wichita. How do you get better when there's, I assume, not top 10 players in the
No,
world
Courtney
in
said
Wichita?
I'm much better than her. No, actually, for size of Wichita, we have quite a few great pickleball players. So we have like Matt Wright is there, and Jocelyn, and then Patrick Smith, and many others like 5 over 4-5 players. So I think for the size of Wichita, we are very lucky to have a ton of good players. So we can practice. I usually practice with Matt and then maybe 2 other players. So it's always great practice. And then also, I'm so lucky to have my WCC members, and they give me the confidence. They're my confidence builders. I'm kidding.
Oh, so they're
I'm kidding.
better.
No, so I play with them and I really enjoy it. So it's a lot of fun because I have a tough competition when I play tournaments, and then when I go home and I'm playing with my Wichita people, it's a lot of fun, and it's really great to see everybody improving and having a great time.
When you're at the tournament, of course, you're playing all days, all different times. And did I hear that y'all don't eat till after the whole end of the day? Or do you just snack? Or what do you do to keep the energy up all the way?
So for example, my partner Matt, he never eats anything during the day. He only eats at night. I am the opposite. I only eat breakfast and then I snack during the day and maybe have a quick lunch if I have time, and if not, that's about it. So I think it's just whatever works for each person. But definitely, I have a ton of snacks with me, fruits and granola bars, and just trying to have energy and trying to do the best I can.
Yes.
How many inches above the net do you need before you smash it?
Huh? I don't know. Let's measure it outside.
When you're that tall, you do it.
That helps. Yeah, that helps. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think, yeah, I'll just go for it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, just a little higher.
Are you going to be in any more Jigsaw commercials?
Definitely. Jigsaw commercials are awesome, and Jigsaw people are awesome, and whoever's creating those amazing commercials are great creative people. So I have nothing to do with them. I'm just in the commercial, but they do a great job of creating the content and making us look like professional actors.
When do you have time to do that?
So last commercial was filmed in Arizona when we were playing the tournament. It was the night before we started competing. So we usually try to combine it with either tournament or we have some weekend and just fly to Arizona because they're based there in Scottsdale. So usually we go there on Friday, film all day Saturday, and then just fly home Sunday. Trying to make a quick trip and get the best outcome. We film as many things as we can. Which one is your favorite commercial?
Which is your favorite commercial?
Well, I like I like them all.
That's a good answer.
Here's when you come in, not today. And
No, not today.
Yeah, not today.
Not today, right there.
There you go.
Courtney told me to wear it.
Do you have a recommendation on the amount of time that a player should spend between drills and play?
I think it's also individual because once, for example, you want to improve your forehand game, let's say, we will spend more time doing that, right? Instead of compared to actually playing situation. So I think if you want to improve like either like court positioning or strategy, I think you have to really play to do that. Versus if you want to just improve one specific shot, then you can just drill or use a ball machine. So I think it also depends on what you're trying to improve.
When you're playing and your partner's in like a firefight, like Matt with the person in front of him, then they bring it to the middle and you have that great not today shot. My question is, where are your eyes? Are you following the ball as Matt or Callie's hitting the ball, or are you watching the person in front of him and watching their paddle and stuff?
I think you have to follow your partner because I think it's very important to know what your partner is doing so you know what to expect in return. So if I see Matt hitting the ball hard, then I know he's going to speed up, and then I have to look at the opponent to see what they're doing. So I think you have to really, because you cannot just follow the ball. You cannot just follow the opponent. You have to follow the ball, and you'll always have to see what your partner is doing. Or if I know like Matt is going to just dink it, I don't feel threatened, like, okay, I can really lean forward and try to take advantage of that. Versus if I see him speeding up, I have to be really aware, like, okay, it's gonna come back fast.
So you recently changed partners for the women's?
Mm-hmm.
How's that? What did she used to not play on Sunday?
Yes. So last 2 years I was playing with Simone Jardine, and so she talked to me and she said that she had some health issues and she wouldn't be able to play as many tournaments this year, which was very nice of her to let me know instead of signing me up and then just like, oh, sorry. So she told me she wouldn't be able to play as many tournaments, and so I reached out to Callie and we partnered up for this year, which Callie is an awesome player. And we had great success so far, and I'm looking forward to this tournament again. And yes, she didn't play on Sundays last year, I think, and then she changed that, and then she started competing on Sundays. So that's good. We'll take that. Any other questions? Don't be shy. I'm finally not nervous, so it's I should get the first speech all over again. It will make more sense. Yes, I love drawing courts.
So if you have technical questions, she could show those in a little bit. But if we have, maybe 5 more minutes of insight questions, and then go out and you can show some of the technicalities.
What about squeegee? I have a very good squeegee technique.
Richard went out to get started.
Okay, awesome. He's gonna steal all my towels. No more questions? Courtney, ask me something.
You guys pushing for it to be an Olympic sport?
I think eventually that will happen. I don't know exactly when, because I think it has to be spread out to a specific amount of countries around the world. So I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I think eventually that's the plan.
Yeah, if they can have cornhole, they can certainly do pickleball.
Right?
That's boring.
I know.
What are the 10 different ways Courtney could improve her game?
Oh, do we have time for that? Oh, Courtney. You put me up here. It's your fault.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
How many countries are playing that are recognized?
I don't know exactly numbers, but I'm an ambassador for Slovakia currently. So I think there are many countries in Europe and in Asia that are trying and growing the sport. There was like Asian Open, and then there were a couple of tournaments in India or Thailand. So it's growing, and I see many tournaments popping up in Europe. It's just, I think the growth needs to be more in those countries, because in America it's growing tremendously, right? But I think once they see the same growth in Europe and Asia and other countries, then they will potentially make it as an Olympic sport.
How many hours a week do you practice your game for competitive play versus giving lessons, or what does your schedule look like?
So when we play as many tournaments as we play right now, we don't really practice as much because, so we actually, for example, we had a tournament last weekend. We practiced yesterday with Matt and 2 other guys yesterday afternoon. So we had one practice and probably we'll play maybe one more time on Tuesday or Wednesday morning to be ready for a tournament. And then we have a tournament next weekend. So we usually practice maybe like once or twice between tournaments during the peak season. And then if we don't have many tournaments, we usually practice like once a week probably. And then the rest of the time I'm just teaching tennis and pickleball. So I'm still on the court, still moving, still working on like serves and returns and stuff like that, but it's not as competitive as when we practice.
Of all the tournaments you've played, where's your favorite place?
People ask me that question. I should know the answer by now. I have a couple favorite ones. For example, Nationals in Indian Wells Tennis Garden. It's a beautiful facility and it's spectacular. You're in Palm Desert. There's beautiful courts, beautiful facilities. So that tournament is one of my favorites for sure. And then I like a tournament in San Clemente in California. That's coming up, I think, 3-4 weeks. It's because I've never been there before, and I went there last year, and it was just beautiful. The weather was nice, so beautiful facility as well. And then also I like Newport Beach, California, because I had great results there last year. So now it's became my favorite tournament. If this year I don't have good results, we'll maybe cross that one out of the list. I don't know. So there are a couple, like all the places we are playing right now, they're just getting better and bigger and just more beautiful. The sport is growing, and then more money is getting into the game, bigger facilities approaching pickleball. So we are very fortunate that we have this opportunity to play the sport we love, and also to be rewarded for it and to enjoy beautiful places.
Do you recommend people beginning to learn how to dink or not?
Oh, definitely. No. Dinking is the game. That's the game. You need to get out to the kitchen line and dink. And if somebody tops it up, then you're gonna smash it up. That's the whole purpose behind dinking, right? You wanna dink, move the dink around, and then you create a pop-up eventually, and then when you can attack.
And you're gonna show us that, right?
We'll show you anything you wanna see. I'll be nice though, I'll be nice, don't worry.
Anybody have a report on the courts? Are they ready to?
One more question.
So Emporia is kind of one of the disc golf centers of the world, so we're pretty familiar with that whole side of it. Do you see the money that's coming into pickleball? Is it getting to the point where players like yourself don't have to worry about any sort of outside income, that your prize money and your sponsorship is able to not only get you to everywhere, but also to allow you to put money in the bank? Like, is it getting to that point for the top players that it's self-sustaining?
Yeah, I would say top 5 players on the men's and women's side, maybe top 8. Depends where you live, right? Because if you live in Wichita, Kansas, then I don't need my income to be as high as if I live in Newport Beach, right? But I think I would say top 5 to 8 players on both sides, men and women's sides, can make a living just playing pickleball.
When do you think we're going to sit in the Olympics?
I don't know, it's a good question. Eventually, I would say yes. I just don't know how soon that can be done. Because I'm sure there are like a ton of deadlines you have to meet for next 4 years, not 8 years. But I just don't know when that's going to happen. But I think eventually we'll get there. I'm going to represent Slovakia. Sorry, you guys.
On that note.
On that note. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.